and welcome to Natural Skincare School. In this very simple video, I'm going to show you how to make a DIY whipped cream or whipped body butter. If you have never formulated before, this is a good place to start. It's very simple. It's bring you into the exciting world of skincare formulation. So today in this video, I will show you how to make a whipped body butter with shea butter and coconut oil. Very simple, no complicated step. This is just going to increase your own knowledge about formulating, especially if you are getting started. Now the first thing you want to do is to sterilize the tools and the equipment you're going to use. So you're going to need a beaker or a container that can take heat. You really need that so as to be able to melt your butter. So first thing you want to do is to melt your butter. Weigh your butter, then melt it. There are two different ways to melt your butter. You can use the regular pot that you put on the stove. Just put your butter on it and melt it. But for convenience sake, I like to use a small water bath, and this is what I use. Especially if you watch most of my video on this channel, I have a link in the description box below for where to get this type of water bath if later on you want to be making more skincare products. So the first thing you do is weigh your shea butter. For this simple DIY video, I'm going to be using 80 grams of shea butter. So take your shea butter and weigh it. $80 grams of shea butter. Butter makes a lot of these because it's, as the name is called, is a butter product. So we're going to use 80 grams of shea butter. So weigh 80 grams of shea butter in a container that can take it. So after doing that, you're going to melt that butter. I'm sorry, I should have taken this before I even reached this stage. I got carried away with all the stuff. So let's weigh 80 grams of shea butter. Note the shea, this kind of product is not best used for the face because it has a lot of oil, and it's best used for the body or the leg or hand, but for the face may not be the best. So the next thing you want to do is to melt your shea butter. Measure your shea butter and melt it. That's the first thing you want to do. I've seen a lot of video call for you melting the oil and shea butter. Depending on the oil you are using, if you are using coconut oil, you can add it to it. But if your oil is not solid, don't add it to it. You can add it to it when you are done melting it. So, but because I'll be using coconut oil, I may have to just add it now. But if you're using heat sensitive oil, do not add it to the shea butter. That is for another video. So I weigh my shea butter, then I'm going to weigh my coconut oil. I have 17.5 grams of coconut oil. Look in the description box below for a link to the DIY recipe. So once you have measured the two together, you have to melt it. So once I do this, what I basically do is cover it with a foil paper. I cut the foil paper to the size of the bowl I want to use, and I will cover it. This is to prevent water from getting into it. So if you do not have a water bath, just regular in your pot, just put it in there and put it on the stove, and make sure you melt it nicely. Put it on the stove. Make sure the heat is not too much so as not to cook your shea butter. You want to melt it, not cook it. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be using my water bath. I like water bath a lot because it saves you a lot of time and it's more professional. So we're going to melt the water bath, and after that we're going to come in. Okay, we'll melt it in the water bath, and once it's fully melted, we're going to move on to the next step. Once you are done melting the oil, the next thing you want to do is to allow it to cool down. Okay, you're going to allow it to cool down to 40 degrees Celsius. If you do not have a thermometer to check this, you can just touch it and put it on your hand here and see if it's cool to touch, if it's not too hot. So just basically when you're done melting it, you can just leave it for another 5 minutes. If you can't do that, leave it for another 5 minutes, allow it to cool down. Okay, why do we have to do this? You want to let it cool down to add your vitamin E oil. Vitamin E oil is an antioxidant. So for this DIY video, I used 1.5 gram of vitamin E oil. You can use it up to 3 gram to prevent, you know, the your oil or your butter from going rancid, and to give you more function of an antioxidant. Okay, it wards away free radicals. Okay, it prevents the degradation of the materials in your body butter. So I'm going to use 1.5 gram of vitamin E oil. So I just want to let it cool down a bit. Right now it's still at 55.8 degrees Celsius, so I want to let it cool down to at least 40 degrees Celsius before I add my vitamin E oil. Your vitamin E oil is very important, just like I said. It's a good part. But if you do not have vitamin E oil at home and you just want to try this out, you can just go ahead and move on to the next step. But for this one, I will cool it down, then we're going to move on to the next step. Any ingredient that you don't have on this list, you can skip them. The ingredient I use is just 4. I use shea butter, I use coconut oil. I use shea butter at 80 gram, coconut oil at 17.5 gram. I use vitamin E oil at 1.5 gram. And I use lavender essential oil at 1 gram. So if you want to make your own and you do not have any of this, you can put in whatever you have. You know, that will be a good substitute. You can put in any other essential oil. If you do not have an essential oil, you can skip it. Add it in another batch if you have any other. So just make sure, if you do not have coconut oil at home, if you have any other oil, maybe sunflower oil, maybe olive oil, you can substitute. So that's something that you should consider going forward. You can make substitution easily when you're making your DIY product. No, this is not a professional grade formula. It's something you can do from your kitchen. And body butter is one of them, very easy to do in the kitchen, and you will really love it, especially when you use good butter like shea butter and fast drying oils. Once it has cooled down, at least give it another 5 minutes, then we're going to add the vitamin E oil. Look in the description box below for where to get all the simple, easy to use ingredients I use for this DIY body butter. So you add this to it, vitamin E 1 point. And once you're done adding that, you're going to mix it very well. It involves a lot of mixing. You're going to mix it well. And the second to the final step for making this is to, cover your body butter and put it in the refrigerator. So put it in your fridge and allow it to cool down a bit. Okay, it's very important that you allow it to cool down a bit in the fridge before we move on to the next step. Why do we have a cool down? We want it this is a whipped body butter, just not regular body butter. So we're going to whip it with our whisk. Once it cools down to comfortable, it's going to cool down so much that it's going to look more like it will harden a bit. Okay, so we're at the final stage of formulating our DIY body butter. So next you want to do now is to whisk it. Okay, you're going to need a whisk, okay, or a mixer. So this one I'm going to be using a whisk attached to an immersion blender. This brand is very good, it's called Utopia. So we're going to use that to whisk our body butter to make it fluffy. So just dip it inside your body, but remember we put it in the fridge to harden a bit, and that's what we get. So we're going to whisk it. Just going to dip your whisk into it and whisk it nicely. This is going to be a soft body butter because I didn't allow it to add in too much. Soft body butter, it's good in that, you know, it's not too hard, you know, too thick. So just, you know, do it like I did it. You're going to get yourself a lovely fluffy body butter. The essence of this is that it's more like we're doing an hydrogenation of our shea butter and oil. Okay, that's what basically that's what body butter means. You hydrogenate your oil, okay, using a whisk and by cooling it. Okay, so we have cooled it and now we're whisking. Whisk it very well. The more you whisk it, the fluffier it becomes. And keep in mind, the more you whisk it, the more volume you get. So we're going to whisk it really, really well. And once you get this, when you have this consistency, you are good to go. And use, what do you call it? A whisk to fluff it a bit more. So we're going to do the last one now. Okay, use your scraper. Okay, I have a link in the description box below for where to get everything I use. Then I'm going to just do it one more time. The last round that I'm going to do now is going to really help to finalize this. So you put it in, dip it in, and whisk it. And this is our body butter. So we're done with this. You are done. The good thing about body butter is that it doesn't require preservative. Remember, it does not require preservative because we didn't use water in it. Okay, for this project we only use shea butter, coconut butter to make this lovely whipped body. As you can see, this is the consistency you want. Okay, this is the consistency you want, and that's it. That's about it. Now, I didn't add my essential oil before I put it in the fridge, so I forgot that you can either add it now or add it before you put it in the fridge. So I'm going to I use 1 gram of lavender essential oil. Then I'm going to mix it a bit more. Okay, so bear with me. I have my kids in the background making some lovely noises. So now that we are done, this is our whisk body. As you can see, it looks more like a cream, isn't it? It looks more like a cream, isn't it? Very beautiful. This is an anhydrous product. You don't need to add a preservative to it. So we're going to just put it in our butter, wherever you want to keep your butter. And that's about it. That's the beauty of, you know, this is something you can make at your home without needing any preservative. No need for an emulsifier. And that's the beauty of making a body butter. Now, can you see how this body butter look more like a cream? And this is beauty right there. Now, there are different type of body butter you can make, and that's where natural skincare product comes in. You can use different type of oil for different skin type. Even when you're making your body butter, you can even skip adding a butter. You can use only oil. Yeah, you can do that also, but butter had a bit of beauty to it. Okay, it had a bit of beauty to it, so that's why we have butter, especially a non-comedogenic oil or butter like shea butter.